This is New Eden.
Happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome to New Eden FM. We have the music and the news to enhance your Sunday. I'm Alondri of the Galaxy, and we are live in game in the I, ITAMO system. Oh my gosh, that's a mouthful, I guess. And we're at the Science and Trade Institute School. And you may wonder, why are we here? Well, as they see, knowledge is power, and there's nothing wrong with soaking up a little bit more from the experts here because so much new stuff has come out. What with wormholes being unstable and all, it's important for us to consult with the experts to figure out what the heck is going on now. Well, I tell you what, here in the studio with us this evening, we have our producer, Maestro Mackenzie. How you doing today?
Considering that it's like 100 degrees outside, literally, I'd say pretty good, but I don't know.
Oh, I know. I'm in Texas. If you set something outside, I don't care what it's made of, it melts.
Hey,
You know,
hey,
it's
I messaged you when I went to your home state like 4 weeks ago. I was out in the colony area actually, while I was on business out in Dallas, and of course ended up in the hospital for for a couple days over some other stuff. But that's unrelated. Either way, it was so dry and so hot in Texas that like at the hotel that I was staying at during my visit, it was located like just within walking distance of a Walmart. Like you had to cross through this grass patch. And it was so hot and dry out there that the grass was literally crunching under my feet like a bowl of cornflakes as I was walking.
uh-huh.
And it was absolutely insane because in Louisiana, we have hot, humid heat. It's like hot, musky heat that feels a lot like being in a sauna. But out there in Texas, it's just hot, dry heat, especially around the Dallas Fort Worth area. It is hot out there. But I mean, it's honestly not much better here anymore. I mean, normally because of all the swamps and stuff you have in Louisiana, it's a little bit better than it is. But right now, it is just raw heat outside. And I will be honest, I wouldn't advise anyone to stay out there longer than maybe 5 minutes because it's pretty bad. Tomorrow is going to be even worse, about 105 last time I checked. So,
Oh my.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
It
understand that things are heating up for the people playing uh in New Eden Pocket Edition, even though there's not exactly much of an atmosphere for them to deal with these type of weather inclinations that we are.
Oh yeah, no, but there is a lot of hotness going on. Lots of people shooting lots of people, and that new area is just on fire. So much death and destruction happening there. I tell you what, we got a lot to talk about there about that. But till we get to that, what is our genre for today, Mackenzie? What tunes are we listening to this evening?
Lots of 80s rock and 80s like pop rock hybrid music. It's actually kind of cool.
I'm gonna feel like I'm in high school again. That's just great.
Yeah, you actually make me feel really young. I think that a lot of this music that when it came out, I was probably crawling on the floors if I wasn't younger. Either way, if you guys are ready to jump into today's episode,
One
we
heck
can do
of a
so with this
patch
classic
that just came
classic.
out here just this week on the 16th. We have the new region Cobalt Edge has been released. Now, let's go over this patch notes in case you haven't had a chance to review it so you can really dig in and find out about this. Now, the Cobalt Edge, the region briefing. They said as the exploration of New Eden border regions progresses, an increasing number of people are directing their attention to Cobalt Edge. Now, this ain't a lie here, people. We'll cover this a little bit more in the state of the war, but there are two groups heavily fighting over this. So, you haven't had a chance to get in there yet. That's a little bit understandable. Now, they have established a first logistics supply depot. Now that is available to all people. So there's basically one NPC station in Cobalt Edge. Now that's 10 constellations for a total of 69 systems there. All of them are null sec, security below zero. And there's a large number of hostile waste seeker drone ships, as well as a large number of ancient relics. Now, the unstable wormholes are going to be how you actually get into those, and those are going to be found in different places in low sec. You'll be able to navigate ships through the unstable wormholes to explore these new unknown regions in Cobalt Edge. Now, the unstable wormholes, now those are the random passages connect to place in universes. Now, thanks to populated warp drives, capulators can steer their ships through wormholes to jump, much like a Stargate. Um, They are distributed in Cobalt Edge and the low-sec space of New Eden, with multiple wormholes leading to the same rift space. You can quickly move multiple regions through wormholes. Now, the rift space is a type of microspace instead of a complete wormhole system, and you're going to find waste seeker drones in that space as well, so you're going to need to be ready to fight whenever you're going through the wormholes. Now, the wormhole system that can only be reached through a special kind of wormhole. Star charts have no records of those, and there's no presence of Concord or other empires in those areas. Uh, where unstable wormholes found so far are a passage that only randomly appears in ordinary systems within the empires and Cobalt Edge. It is not possible to reach the wormhole system through these wormholes. They do say though that as technology advances, it may become possible to discover special wormholes leading to the wormhole system in the future. So they may have something in the future planned for these as well. Now you may be asking, how do you find these wormholes? Well, these unstable wormhole signals are unique and can easily be detected by any scanner. After opening the star map, capillaries can see the wormhole in their current region directly. Okay. Ship restrictions. What can I take in a wormhole? Well, you can take anything. All ships, including super capitals, can pass through the unstable wormholes. However, now there's always a catch. The wormhole will collapse and disappear after a while, hence the name unstable wormhole. Now, jump fatigue. Now, as with the jump hot drive, after traversing the wormhole, capsuleers will enter a state of fatigue for 60 seconds, during which no noticeable effects will be felt. Now, if you pass through a wormhole again while fatigued, you'll be weakened for 180 seconds, and you will not be able to pass through a wormhole while weakened. Therefore, you need to plan carefully for your wormhole traversing timing. Now, there's no stargates across the constellations and across the regions. It's a very interesting thing there. It's completely different. You only enter a constellation in Cobalt Edge through an unstable wormhole, and you cannot enter Cobalt Edge through a Stargate from another Cobalt Edge region. So, navigating to and around Cobalt Edge is not an easy thing. Um, Thankfully, however, jump navigation was less affected. If there are suicidal beacons in another constellation, capsuleers can initiate jump drive, but cannot perform the jump across regions. So, I guess there's some testing there. It's going to need to be done for everybody to figure out exactly how to do that. Now, another interesting thing about the Cobalt Edge's system broadcast. Basically, the number of local capsuleers will be displayed at question mark because there's no way of viewing the online capsuleers yet. So you can choose to broadcast your message in local, so that other capsuleers, same systems, can receive them, but you will reveal your presence there then. So it's kind of a place of mystery. Now, the one station in Cobalt Edge is going to be in ETAC Bravo Yankee Oscar Sierra. That's open to all capsuleers. You can do maintenance, construction, have a hangar there, and other functions. It does not have sentry guns, and super capital ships cannot dock there, so be mindful of those things. If you're looking for a place to put your super cap, you're going to have to figure that out. Uh, you're unable to set your station as that base, though. However, thanks to the strengthened clone center, jump clone is still operatable. So you can't set your base there, where if you die, you will arrive there, but you can jump clone to it. So that's an important limitation to keep in mind. However, you can only enter Cobalt Edge by jump clone up to 3 times per day. Otherwise, the nerve system of the capsuleer will be overwhelmed. So not even the nerve release surface can fix that. So not even, no matter how much money you throw at them, they ain't gonna fix it. 3 times per day is your max. Now, as far as the claiming of this space, that's something interesting because the currently available capsuleer outpost and corporation outposts and add-on structures, none of those can be anchored in Cobalt Edge. Now, they have developed a special recon outpost which can be anchored there. Now, please note that the recon outpost can only undergo one hull reinforcement and cannot perform shield hardening due to its different structure. Now, you can purchase a blueprint in the market and then manufacture it. Um, you have the Capsuleer Scout Outpost. That's basically your POS, and then you have your Corporation Reconnaissance Outpost. That's going to be the ones for Corporation, obviously. Now, obviously, this new area does have asteroid belts, and the asteroid belts, apart from the common assortment ores and gas clouds, there's a gas cloud known as C70 that's been discovered. Now, this particular cloud is utilized in the research and development of new materials, so that's the new goodie there, is the gas cloud known as C70. Now, they have reported presence of hidden waste seeker drones on the asteroid belts, which may attack ships during their mining operations. So be advised and be vigilant when mining there. So there are things that will attack you while you're trying to collect the goodies in the new area. In addition to not being able to see whenever hunters have entered the system because there's no local. So you have to be very hyper aware in that new area. Now, there's no new resources that have been invited in Cobalt Edge. The common resources do not significantly differ from those, so the planet PI is no really different. Now, you also have Waste Seekers. Those are the collective term for the drone factions. They range in size from frigates and battleships to even super carriers, and they constantly patrol, scavenge, and salvage shipwrecks in space to build their own bodies. They operate in groups, competing with capitaliers for limited resources and living space, so be aware of those. Now, there are Waste Seeker encampments. Those are basically anoms and things. You got Waste Seeker checkpoints. Those are a rare large encampment. Those are have the elite entities in them. And then you have ancient relics. Those are going to be something that you find with scanners. They're significantly more difficult to analyze than what you find in normal space. So be aware of that. You also have the fact that the Waste Seeker drones have 8 different types. They detail this. So you have the Ghost Wind, the Tractor, the Savannah, Rusting Ruins, Boulder Shatterer, Rover, and Scorchland. You gotta love these names. Those are pretty good. Fortunately, due to lack of appropriate knowledge and technology, it is currently impossible to receive the damaged hull of the Wake Seeker drone from its wreck. So they don't drop shipwrecks. They're at a loss to how to reverse engineer the ships either. Basically, they use a hybrid of cannon and decomposer. They are hoping to master these weapons, so maybe in the future they will release some sort of add-on where we'll get some of that stuff. Now, this, of course, included some new ships. We finally got the Navy issue frigates. Now, this is really great stuff. You got the Punisher Navy issue, you got the Kestrel Navy issue, Rifter Fleet issue, the Icarus Navy issue, and the Tristan Navy issue. And just like the Navy issue battleships, they get the characteristics of a Navy issue ships and higher firepower, low rate of fire, fast locking, strong censorships, strength, and minimal resistance weaknesses. You manufacture them based on blueprints obtained via reverse engineering, and they can be obtained from the Star of Trailblazers event manual. Okay, so that's how you get those. And I did take a look at those. Find it very interesting that the Tristan Navy issue has 3 high slots for weapons, as well as 3 drone slots, whereas all the other frigates just have 3 high slots. So I find that very interesting about the Tristan. I'll be interested to see what some gurus or doctrines say about that. They also did, of course, add a few corporation texts there, where you can increase the anchor number. Territorial expansions technology. Basically, you can anchor more things. More add-ons can be laid down, or leveling up more add-ons, because every time you level them up, obviously they take more of that energy there. Okay, and they've also added something here for drone. Researchers have developed integrated technology from waste seekers there, from battles with waste users, to create a comprehensive range, integrated types for all drone models. Manufacture them based on blueprints obtained from waste seeker checkpoints and ancient relics. So those 2 different types of anomalies we discussed earlier, those are where you're going to be getting the new 2 types of drones here. Additionally, there's some new fighters. Light Space Superior Fighter Shrike and the Light Offense Strider Red-Tailed Hawk have been unveiled. Now, those 2 basic fighters are available in basic assault, offense, and integrated types. So, some new implant units that increase different things for designed for drones, fighters, and lightweight ships. You have General Fire Control System Precision Upgrade, Fire Control System Damage Boost, Defense Upgrade and Damage Boost for Mothership, and then Drone Optimization, Fighter Warp Drive. A lot of things there for enhancing your fighters and your drones and your lightweight ships for your carriers and things like that. Again, with rigs, there's some new rigs that have been added as well. The rigs for the remote shield booster and remote armor repair have been introduced. Those are going to be manufactured based on blueprints obtained from the waste seeker checkpoints and ancient relics. So if you're wanting to upgrade your Logi and need those new fancy new rigs there, those are going to be found in the waste seeker checkpoints and ancient relics. Now, there are some new modules as well. We have some new shield extenders here. The shield generators and titanium armor. Now, compared to traditional shield extenders, the shield generator can suppress the shield's signature radius and increase the shield's maximum strength and recharge rate. But its magnetic field sharpening effect is somewhat reduced, limiting its effectiveness in emergency hardening. And the steel plates are similarly effective as far as armor goes. Now you manufacture those based on blueprints again from waste seeker checkpoints and ancient relic sites. So again, if you want some of that new stuff, you're going to have to venture into that new area. Now the materials that have been added here, that's going to be that C90 or C70, um, and have also made production blueprints for the new material. We have the Freelero ferrocene and fluorine intercalculated graphite. Oh, those are mouthfuls. Which are used in the manufactures of new structures and ships. So you manufacture those based on blueprints purchased from the market. In addition to the above new materials, refining and reprocessing capabilities of waste seeker drones have significantly increased the yield of precious metals and non-CS crystals. These materials are exclusively used in the manufacturing of the new drones and modules. Those are obtained by defeating waste seeker drones. So those are actually the drops. I've heard, I haven't actually ventured into the new area myself, but I've heard that that's what you get from them. You get these precious metals and non-CS crystal things instead of bounty ticks. Now they do have new events that have been going on here. We have the Sleeping Auditorium that's ongoing from August 16th to September 6th, and that's going to be limited time rerun of the event Sleeping Auditorium. You can set any of the songs as your station's theme, so that's going to be your musical entertainment there. Now the open supply depot open from August 16th to September 6th. That's you can now purchase a wide variety of abundant resources and substantial discounts. So there's all kinds of things there in that. You do want to check that out. There is also the Star of Trailblazers event manual. You complete missions to obtain the rewards. Uh, Unlock the manual to obtain standard implant, opt supply, special battle op box, the Star of Trailblazers encrypted transport container decoder, special frigate op box, and many other things. So you do want to check out that. You have until September 6th to do that. Now, we do have the Star of Trailblazers login rewards. That's going to be another one of those 7-day things. Um, that's going to be from the 16th until the 23rd. So we are well into that. They do have some cool little boxes there where you do have a chance of getting some cool prizes. Now, you can, if you're or at least Omega, you can go back and claim 3 that you have missed, up to 3. So if you've missed a couple that you haven't missed a log on, you can go ahead and claim those even though you didn't log in. So make sure you check that under the Events tab. Now they also, the Omega Special Deal event. Now that's that one where if you've gotten the Omega Duo, where you've gotten your Gnosis and your Praxis and your Praxis 2. Now they've added some new stuff there as well. One of which is that can you logistics. So go ahead and take a look. If you are paying for that duo, go ahead and collect your extra goodies there. And they have added a new core box for those special frigates for the Trailblazers, a Nanotor op box to the Concord Pass Shop. That's for all the 5 new special frigates. So if you do get one of those and you need to get yourself a nanocore, you can get that in the Concord Pass Shop. And of course they did do some optimizations where they optimized the market as usual, but they did increase the retrieval range of drones to 5 kilometers. So it's a little easier to get your drones put back in. They added super cattle ships to the combat log filtering category, so make sure you do check your combat filtering there. And they improved the despawn logic for asteroid belts, where they no longer despawn while being mined. And if you have ever mined in this game and ever been working a belt and had it despawn, you know what a pain in the butt that is. There you go. It's never going to happen to you again. Now, they did do some bug fixes as well. They fixed an issue where sentry guns might not hit frigates at a distance of 0 kilometers. That seems like a very specific fix. I wonder who did something there. They fixed an issue where the focus fire command might be unresponsive. All right.
I would actually be interested in knowing if the person is reading those kill marks right. I'm not saying that they're wrong, because things might have changed since the last time I was actually in the game. But I do remember that the kill marks do consolidate, kind of like if you're doing something of a of a scratch off. You are going to, once you get to 10, it turns into like a smaller kill mark. So assuming he's
Yeah.
reading those right, that might be a problem. But if he's not like used to, or he's not understanding that it's like a tally system where when you get like 10 kills, it's gonna all, like, you're gonna lose all 9 of those last kill marks, and you're just gonna get 1 kill mark, and then it's gonna start all over again, and then you're gonna get another one of those big kill marks. It is possible, however, to max out your kill marks on a ship. Like the number of visible kill marks that can be on a single ship. It's possible to max it out, and someone did it with a Kruger.
Yeah. It would be nice if somewhere on the ship's display, when you're looking at your ship, if it listed its number of kills somewhere. That would just be nice if it did that.
I mean, when you think about it, the kill mark system is very much. I mean, it's something that I'm glad is in the game, but it's also something that was kind of put in as something of a color feature in EVE Online. Harking back to what the World War One days, when people were actually putting those marks on their fighter planes after they shot down
Yeah.
adversaries. So I mean, and also look at it this way: kill marks in Eve Eve Echoes are tied to the players. So if you get a bunch of kills in a ship and then you die in that ship, you get back into the ship and your kill marks are still, and you get like 100 kills, and then you just get really unlucky and they blow you up, your kill marks go boom. And that's it. um
Oh wow.
yeah, it's kind of interesting. There are actually people that have been known in EVE Online to buy like ships that are loaded down with kill marks as just kind of like relic pieces or whatever. I don't know why you'd want that if you didn't do it yourself, but mm,
Well, why would somebody collect the Red Baron ship? People collect stuff that was used to kill people. It's
believe
as
it or
true
not,
in video games as it is in real life, apparently.
that's very true. But I mean, the Red Baron was actually a very honorable opponent from what history has said about him. So it not only was he an ace pilot, he was also a very admirable man, in terms of like his honor in combat and stuff. So I mean, that's a good reason why people would want to have his vessel.
Yeah. And who knows? They may want the ship that killed 14 things in such and such battle. Maybe that's why they collect it. Who knows? They don't. But we do have more questions. Let's see what the next one is. They say, "Hi, can you please add immunity to warp bubbles for shuttle? The shuttle should be used for easy, fast, and above all, safe travel. Perfect for newbies, and the boat would finally make some sense." That's a very good question. I mean, aren't they immune to bubbles in EO? Let's see what the answer is. We currently do not have plans to add immunity to warp bubbles for shuttles. The shuttle is not designed for combat. Giving it too many attributes may not be beneficial to ordinary players, but will be used for transporting materials with multiple accounts. Yes, people need a fleet of shuttles whenever people use interceptors to uh, move stuff
I
around. Nobody's
mean,
going to use a 10 cargo hold thing where you can't put any rigs or anything to increase it. And it can't it can you can't be used in combat. Of course it can't. It can't have any weapons. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I think this is our gym. This makes no sense. Well, yeah.
I mean, the shuttles
I
are
can't. I
used
can't.
in EVE Online for transporting stuff, small things like blueprints, but mostly because they can run through warp bubbles. So
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. This moving right along. Question. Thank you for your constant fixes and updates to the game. With regards to the recent update fix to the AI system of the gold cores, we are very grateful that you have fixed the activation of the Ichua modules. However, these cause some modules to be immediately activated, armor reps, cap battery, Joan amp, that cause dips or premature exhaust of available caps or waste activation time. Is there any possibility that you can add sliders to tailor the movement of the AI system? We can see you have already added the distance warped and jump. Maybe you can also add a slider for module use percent. Use module if 75 cap, use rep if 50% armor, warp if armor 25%. This will add strategy, planning, and tinkering in the AI system, fully customizing it to our needs. Thank
jeez,
you.
I remember asking about that when they first dropped that system like months ago. You know,
Yeah,
yeah, it's a really good idea. I like that guy.
let's see what their answer is. They say we have plans to further optimize the AI core, and we will definitely take your suggestion into consideration. Thank you for your feedback. Okay, well, that's good that they're thinking about it. Could we expect to see some implementation? But that's gonna bring us to a conclusion of our Q&A, and bring us to the end of our uh, New Eden News segment. Now, of course, we do have a lot to talk about in the State of the War segment coming up, so I hope that we have something appropriate and get the people's blood pumping ready to hear some news about some digital violence.
Digital violence is on the menu today.
Indeed it is. State of the War is filled with lots of glorious digital violence.
Well, let's see. We can probably work up to that part about engaging in digital violence, but at the moment, I do have something for avoiding digital violence.
Welcome back to the State of the War, brought to you by Echoes.mobibot, the best killbot in all of New Eden. Alright, well, there has been a lot of spiciness happening in the war that was supposed to be over. As somebody on Silence Discord once put it, who decide, why does one side get to decide the war is over? Apparently one side says the war is still on. They're still tabulating, from my understanding. So, yeah, the forces of RD have been pushing into the east. And it's been rather catastrophic for the east, actually. ESCA is no more. The Extrasolar Colonial Administration has disbanded. It has ceased to exist. Most of its corporations have either formed their own little alliance. A new INVE alliance has formed up. There's also a lot of them have gone to Void, and little birdie told me a few went over to Silent. So even Silent's bolstering out of the wreckage of what it's leaving there, and rest of the East isn't doing too much better. OG has been under attack directly by RD forces. They've got a lot of timers going on, things like that, and so far it's been pretty quiet on the Hippo front. So not really sure what the Hippos are going to do, or when their hippos are going to consider themselves aggravated and become hungry hippos seeking those kill mails again. But Void, of course, is not doing too bad. But of course, they're having a lot of problems with forces from RD because the whole east is on fire. And of course, with this going on, we get that new patch in, and of course, lots of spiciness because that new area up there, like I told you before, that area is on fire. You have Silent and AOA both slugging it out up there, trying to get those brand new goodies. I even saw a Rorqual and a Capital Kill Mel that got killed up there in that new area. So, plenty of spiciness going on up there. It is hot. So if you are not in one of those two groups, use caution when proceeding into that area. It is going to be a hot zone. Of course, you still do have people roaming silent space. I do see a lot of that going on, but I don't really see a lot of push on that side there. So there's not a lot of push going on as far as on the RD forces, but the RD forces have definitely made a push into the east. I think that other than that, there's not really too much going on, and as odd as that sounds, it sounds like there's a lot going on, but most of the forces in the galaxy are just kind of sitting this out. It's really more like a pact versus RD right now is pretty much the state of the war.
Well, I mean, I kind of thought that was going to be a rather fragile alliance concerning the way that Hippos were handling things, and when it comes down to it, nobody who knows Silent really well was expecting anything different. Come on, really.
Very, very true. Very, very true. And of course, AOA has, of course, gotten involved now. They have jumped in here and there, but obviously, Silent and AOA are on almost opposite time zones, so there's not really much of a matchup up there as far as in the east, but especially since AOA seems to be devoting a great deal of its time and attention to that new area that has come out now. So,
well, everyone
we'll see
wants
how that
the
affects
first things, right? Everyone wants the first crack
Oh,
at
yeah.
the new stuff. That's just the way that it works. It's like anything that releases in Eve is going to be a limited resource for a certain period of time, and that means that there's going to be a whole lot of competition for those things, which means that you're going to have a whole lot of competitiveness over those things. And right now, I don't know. I feel that with the rest of the things that are going on in the galaxy, it doesn't really seem like the Hippos are as interested in rallying. But the question is why? I mean, when I think about the leadership, like who was in the core leadership, the major players making the war effort, making the push, is between TSC and Burr. And so it really just kind of felt like no one else, well, I mean, obviously when No was in there, they were as well. But who else really has the tenacity to step up and say, well, you know what, let's push back against these people. You know, if Burr isn't going to do it or if TSC isn't going to do it. Those are two organizations that I would expect. It would be, you know, Meliodas, Oz, you know, Stony Sluts. Yeah, but I mean, you know, those are all people who are kind of at this point taking something of a step back from the game, which I'll be honest, I can't blame them. I mean, the burnout is real, and FCs don't last forever in this game. Hell, leadership figures in EVE don't last forever. Neither in EVE Echoes nor in EVE Online. They just don't last forever because of the constant amount of pressure, the work, and the stress that is associated with being any type of leadership in EVE. But especially FCs, good FCs do not last forever. Eventually, no matter how good you are, how passionate you are about it, you're going to burn out, you're going to need time away. You take your time away, and, you know, the best FCs in EVE Online have always kind of come back at some point. But I do believe that you know, there's you know, something of a it really is kind of like this point, especially in EVE Echoes, because people went so hardcore in EVE Echoes. Like Tahini, man, Tahini is one of those FCs that, like, he was always just going so hardcore in EVE that inevitably I knew that someone who could do the things he could do and be that consistent could not last indefinitely. You know what I mean? Couldn't last indefinitely. Same thing
Yeah.
with Meliodas. Meliodas was capable of, even though he had to work his day job, and he usually could only really play at night and on weekends, vacation times. He really hit the gas pedal when he got there, and the times that even when he couldn't really play the game, he spent that time making doctrines and making sure that people in the alliance had the correct doctrine ships, and making sure that the alliance was functioning correctly. And it's crazy to think about it because it's a video game and people, say, well, you do that for fun. You have any idea how much stress that shit puts on your body? Like, seriously? Like, do you have any idea?
Mhm.
The time that I remember being, like a Pantheon FC, that put a tremendous amount of stress. Having to wake up at like 5 a.m., sometimes 4 a.m., to make, timers, or to make, to get fleets and stuff like that, and set stuff up.
Oh yeah.
The amount of time that we have to spend in debrief after we've spent, like, hours and hours and hours in a fleet. Hell, the war against No and Silent, Pantheon's final war, that was incredibly stressful. Waking up at like 7 a.m. or 8 a.m., doing work to get everybody set up to go to war, and then turning around, being on the battlefield, because those K4 battles lasted like all day. Um,
Oh
and
yeah.
then being in debrief for like an additional hour, 2 hours, and you realize that, wow, so I logged into this game at 8 a.m. and it is now 9 p.m. and I'm finally done doing what I have to do as an FC. So take my word for it. FCs don't last in this game. Leaders don't last in this game. And I think one thing that Silent has going for itself, like really, really well, is that they were always competent in the way that their leaders could kind of step away, and there was always somebody there that could pick up the mantle and go with it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I think that Silent did a fantastic job of doing. They realized that if one person did this, two people did this, it's just providing, monetary support or words of encouragement. When it came time for war, pay to win was in their corner. Michael JD,
Yeah.
say what you will about the guy, but when it was time for them to go to war, he left EVE Online, he came back, and he supported his people. So you may not like the
Yeah.
guy, but you gotta appreciate the fact that he did what he had to do. He stepped it up as a leader, he did what he needed to do. Mattarella had been kind of, I guess, stepped back a little bit away from the game. He came back when it was time for war. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so it
Even
was,
their current
yeah,
executor Nihilus, he was executor at one point in time. He took a step back, and now he's back in as executor. I mean, he took that break that the leaders need to take so that they don't get that level of burnout. You know?
pretty much. And he actually left someone who was reasonably good in charge.
Hmm.
It really is necessary to have that kind of trust in your people. I mean, Yoda might be a fantastic, interceptor, tackle FC, but they don't burn him out. Like, he's not the only guy that does that and does it well in Silent.
Yeah.
So it really is very important to have to have the discipline of knowing when it's time to step away and when it's time to let someone else take over. And I think that it's a failing on a lot of leadership figures. I loved Mama Saurus Rex to death. I really did. I still do. I think that she's a wonderful person, and I would sit and chat with her over a cup of tea anytime. But I also believe that she was so she was so dedicated to being that dictatorial leader that she couldn't fathom letting someone else take over so that she could rest. I mean, I remember
Yeah.
stories where she would say, like, she was doing a disposition and still checking up on us to make sure that we were okay. I'm like, damn, like, Superwoman, how do you
Yeah.
do it? How do you do it? You know what I mean? Like Sun Banana. Sun Banana was it was, we had something of a federation in Pantheon, but he was still the overarching leader of Pantheon. And so, because he was that overarching leader when they didn't have him anymore, because he didn't prepare anyone else to take over, look at what happened. And Silent never was really built in that same sense, where if someone couldn't do something that they'd be screwed. There was always somebody that could pick up the ball and roll with it. I think TSC
Yeah.
might be very similar in in that facet. I know that Stony Sluts, Bees, and a few others have worked really diligently to make sure that there was always someone involved in TSC when someone else needed to take a break. So there were people that that do it. And Silent is just a great example of it, but it exists elsewhere. It's just
Yeah.
it's I don't know why anybody's no one should be surprised, and to be honest, no one should really be impressed that the two entities that are fighting over the new resources and in this this wormhole content are the two entities that are the absolute best when it comes to general structure of management. I mean, AOA is one of the best. You can say what you want about them. You may not like some of the things that they do, but when it comes to organization, when it comes to being on top of their business, AOA knows what they're doing. They're not afraid to
They
fight.
definitely do.
They always have a game plan in how to win. And I'll be honest, I mean, battles between AOA and Silent inside these new wormhole spaces must be very exciting to watch. So I don't spend a whole lot of time following Eve Echo's content these days, but I would watch videos to see how some of these battles are going down between AOA and Silent, because I would imagine that that is something that is worth watching, and and it'd be pretty entertaining.
It definitely is. But I think that's going to bring us to a close of our state of the war here for today. We'll have Eve Talk coming up where we've got something special planned. But until then, what can we have to bring us on over there?
Stuff. I mean, unless you need more modern music to bring you into that segment.
Oh, and just hit us with something groovy.
Okay. Well, I mean, since this is kind of like 80s
Warp
week,
drive active.
here you
Eve
go.
Talk. Here in the studio, we have the Black Joker. He's a member of our staff. He's the one who does our YouTube video of our on location scenes every week. And he's also doing something special involving some fun PvP combat tournaments. What do you got going in here, Joker?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We have great events coming up. How are you doing, New Eden FM and the whole Eve community? So we have great events coming up. I'm putting together a new title where you can be called the New Eden FM Battleship Champion. On August 27th, we are going to roll out. We're going to roll out starting off with a Battleship Battle Royal where many contestants can battle it out for a shot at the title to be the New Eden Battleship Champion. The winner of that battle royal will then get a one-on-one with the winner of the match between me, the Black Joker, or Asheed on Sunday, October 22nd. Now, the match between me and Asheed is set for Friday, October 13th. The match will be pre-recorded on YouTube and showed on FM radio that very next Sunday. So stay tuned for our promotional videos leading up to this big main event.
All right. All right. I love it. I love it. So we'll get those rules posted up over here in the announcements as soon as we get finish getting those details out. Just to give people a preview, what battleships can they expect to use?
Any battleship of your choice, long as it's a battleship, it has to be a battleship. Implants, I don't care, it doesn't matter, long as it's a battleship.
All right. Well, that sounds like fun. All right. That sounds fun. You said you're partnering with Sheev on this?
Yes, I've been taunting at Sheev ever since we thought about it, so we thought it would be a great idea to bring a lot of people back into the Eve community, put up a nice event.
All right. Eh, Well, that sounds like a lot of fun, and we will get the details up on that as soon as we can. So, Joker, as soon as you get the details on the rules and everything like that, we'll get that posted up for everybody so we can get this rolling.
Yes, indeed, yes, indeed. It's going to be a great event we
All
got
right.
coming up in a
Well,
few.
thank you, Joker. I sure do appreciate it.
You're welcome, no doubt, no doubt.
Now, we do have a few other things to talk about as far as just general Eve things going on in the galaxy. Something very interesting happened yesterday. they had the Eve parade ceremony that happened. And a lot of people are upset because even though they said that you can be in a citadel or station, anybody who was in a corporate citadel in Null was not able to actually participate. They got an error message that popped up that said their corporation could not enter. But the added twist to this is that the people who were able to get in, that would be anybody who was in a NPC station anywhere in the galaxy, including Null. Um, they were able to get in, and the formations were the same. They were everybody's ship was there. There weren't gaps like they didn't go in. So something happened there. So uh, it's still too early to find out exactly what NetEase is going to do about that, but I'm sure that if you're out there listening, you probably know somebody who has been talking about the ceremony. Now that's that Trupa brings up in the sound of us that it was a test run for the parade, and that is something that some people have said, and other people have said that they were recording it, and it is going to be the recording that will be live streamed on the 31st. So I've been getting very conflicting information. I haven't been able to pin anybody down on that for sure. But I have heard that it was a dress rehearsal, so to speak, and that the actual parade is the 31st. And I've heard people saying, no, this is the actual parade. It's being recorded and will be broadcast live stream on the 31st with commentary. So got conflicting information on that. Yeah, that's why I've tried to nail it down for sure. I am going to continue checking on that, but it was just kind of a little bit of a mess, a very not well done parade compared to last year, because last year's parade went off without a hitch. I don't recall last year having these kind of problems, so I don't know
Yeah.
what happened
Last year
with it.
only had the issue where for some reason, it felt like the announce team wasn't even acquainted with the shifts that they were talking about.
Yeah, that wasn't a matter of implementation. That was a matter of the announcing team not knowing what's going
Yeah,
on. It's like they just grabbed some people like you announce games. Come over here. I've never played this before. It's
but
okay. It's okay.
but to
We'll give you a
call a
cheat card.
nightmare a Naglafar.
Yeah. Well, at least they had the first letter right. You got to give them credit for at least having being in the right part of the alphabet in chips. They just looked at the wrong card.
Nah, they're both vertical
But
shifts,
yeah.
therefore they're the same.
Yeah, but that is another interesting thing that has just recently happened that we are going to keep an eye on it, and I've talked to a few people who've been involved, and the dreaded R word was used by a few people, refund, because you have to remember that each one of these groups they paid a thousand AUR to be able to participate. AUR is a thing that you have to pay real money to get. You can't get that in game. So they paid that, and there was one corporation that I heard saw that because I was watching the Eve Echoes Discord discussing all this as it was happening, and one group said they had all 50 of them online and only two were able to get in. Now I don't know if that's an accurate assessment of their numbers or anything like that, but it sounded like it was a big problem. And they were able to nail it down that the few people who were in NPC stations and all, they were able to get in. It was just the fact if anybody who was in a corp citadel was not able to get in. Now, of course, I'd be very interested to find out if that problem is that these people who couldn't get in, if all of them were in level 4 citadels that didn't exist last time, and so they didn't quite code it right for these new level 4 citadels. Maybe that's where the problem lies. That's that's my best guess. I haven't taken a
Maybe.
look at That
But
that would
think
that man
about it.
it makes the most sense because if
It
it
makes the
worked
most
last year, it didn't
sense,
work.
but think about it. If you're not sure if your technology or your code is going to work, and you haven't had an opportunity to test it out to make sure that it does in fact work, why not just tell people to meet up in an NPC station? I mean, these corporations would have had absolutely no problem whatsoever doing a move up and going to a station.
What would have made more sense was for them to test it on the test server to make sure it worked. But that would have just been me. That would have just been me. You know, if I had a
Well,
whole server that mirrored my main server where all the players on, where I could test things and make sure they work before I go and unleash it on the players, my gosh, I would make use of that thing on a regular basis. I
I
don't
mean,
know that
player
they do though.
testing became less and less and less of a thing over time, sadly. Um, I remember getting
Yeah,
to take
and
part in one play test, maybe two, since the beginning of the game's life. When they did the play test, I think last year or whatever, you couldn't get in unless you were on an Android device. Like I could get in using an emulator,
yeah,
but I could not get in otherwise. And it's because Apple has very strict policy when it comes to, the quality of what goes on their app store. So it
yeah,
kind of sort of made some sense and everything, but I don't know, testing is just becoming more and more of an afterthought. So it's yeah, Trooper's right. Trooper just said it's only been once on iOS. And that's pretty much what I remember. That was when we got command ships, if I'm not mistaken. That was the one and only time on iOS that I got to test out any of the content before it was dropped.
See, I don't remember.
So
Was the beta available on iOS? Because
it
I've
was.
always been Android, and so
It was.
yeah,
It was. I was part of the beta. I was, I think, second string beta. So I wasn't there on the initial beta like Benzi, but I was in the beta right after Benzi. And yeah, it worked on iOS. The thing is,
yeah.
you had to get the Eve Echoes beta through an app called Test Flight. That's how they tested the game on iOS. And Test Flight is
Oh,
well, Test Flight is it is an app, but it's an app that's already certified and it's a stable app. But game companies can pretty much rent Test Flight in order to allow them to be able to test their stuff on on like iOS, whereas ordinarily they probably wouldn't be able to get the go ahead from Apple to do it. So
yeah,
everything was on test flight, but I'm pretty sure again, these companies have to pay for the right to use test flight to do that. So NetEase did that once when the game was in like beta, first phase, second phase, third phase, etc. Um, but after that, they pretty much they might have used test flight one more time. The time that Troop was talking about, I'm pretty sure we had to use test flight to get in there because otherwise we weren't going to get in. But after that, that was
mm,
pretty much a wrap. I guess they determined that it wasn't feasible for them. But right now, I just like it is like baffling me how cheap that these guys are getting. Like that I'm sorry, I don't want to be negative, but it's baffling me how cheap these guys are getting. Like I got the X notification for those of you that are social media people, which is pretty much 99% of you. X is the new name of Twitter, which, I mean, it's Elon Musk, so great, I guess. Either way, I got the notification, and apparently, whenever you submit those questions in for, to be on the Q&A, you no longer get dual Omega anymore. Now you just get basic Omega, and I was literally like, are you serious, guys? Like you're really only going to give basic Omega for the submission of these questions? I mean, come on. It's not like it's a big deal, right? Just
yeah.
just just
It actually
just
costs
give it
them
out.
exactly zero.
Yeah.
That when they give away a one of these things, of course, in their mind, they probably think it costs us, but they're not giving us that money. They don't realize
Well,
most of the time
no. It's
it's
just money that they're not
um,
making technically.
yeah.
But at the same time, the players could easily go out and farm the ISK anyway, so they still wouldn't be getting it in raw capital.
Yeah, and but at the same time, if they get suddenly get Duo Omega and are happy because they won something from a game they enjoy playing, they may re-energize them and want to play the game more, and maybe they buy a Concord Pass. They don't think about stuff like that.
I'll be honest, I just think that like that just made it didn't break my heart because my heart's been dashed one too many times by NetEase at this point. So nothing that they do
Yeah.
really surprised me, but it was just one of those situations where I looked at it and I face palmed so hard that because I couldn't believe that they're taking away Dual Omega, and they say, "Oh no, submit this stuff to us and you get basic Omega." I'm like,
Oh,
really, guys? Like, are you really
yeah.
serious? Like, you can't even give away, Dual Omega, and it makes me wonder because I haven't talked to Sheaf in a really long time, but or Rambo for that matter. Are they even giving away Dual Omega anymore? I don't even know if they're giving content
Yeah,
creators the ability to give
they
Dual
are.
Omega. They are?
They
So
are
content
the
creators can still
yeah
get
on
it?
the yeah I know that Taylor Rick still gives away his on the uh CS yeah the CSM server.
Okay, cool. Cool, cool. All right. Well, that's good to know. So
Mm,
that hasn't dried up yet. But it just made
yeah,
me feel a little bit inadequate. Like just reading that, going, "Oh my gosh, you can't get Dual
yeah,
Omega by having your question submitted anymore."
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
guys, it's not that big
yeah,
of a deal. But it is what it is. I would just say, good
yeah.
luck with that, and enjoy the new wormhole content that
Yeah,
you'll
and I have
probably
to say that as as
silent.
as we get ready to bring the show to a close to kind of end on a positive note, I have noticed something, and as y'all all know, I do watch all over New Eden, and I've noticed here and there and pretty much everywhere little heads peeking up and taking a peek at the new content. So maybe just maybe if you're out there missing somebody who's kind of wandered away from the game, maybe they'll be one of those little heads that pop up and want to take a look and hear about this new content. So
It's a
let's
possibility.
hope that old friends find their way back into our lives yet again.
Not just old friends, newer players. I mean, I'm still subscribed to the Reddit groups and stuff. And yes, for those of you
This is
that
true.
wonders, wait, I hope that you actually spend time on Reddit. Well, I'm a part of other communities such as the motorcycle community. Huzzah. But anyways, I'm a part of other
Yeah,
communities on Reddit, but I do still keep up with what's going on the Eve Echoes part of Reddit. And yeah, there are players that are actually interested in getting into the game, but it's kind of like it's kind of like that weird scenario where it's like the angel and the devil on the shoulders, I guess, where it's like here's all the
yeah,
pros, but here's all the cons. And and and, and every time I read the responses, it feels like that little devil on the left shoulder is getting fatter and fatter and fatter. so
yeah,
so so it's that's one of the I guess the negatives, but there are players that are looking for a new mobile game experience that might want to give it a shot. Just um yeah.
yeah. But yeah, it is something new that can hopefully maybe add a little spark here. Let's hope that NetEase doesn't blow it out. That's all I can say on that. But I am very pleased to see this spark.
I'm sparked up for the battle
Okay.
royal. That should be entertaining.
Yeah, I'm very psyched for that. That is going to be very entertaining.
Dude,
And
I
we
am
will get those
totally
rules
playing Metal
posted.
that episode. I am playing Metal that
That
episode.
There we go. Oh yes, yes. That's going to be a must. And we will get those rules posted up just as quick as we get them all up and everything. So keep your eye out for that, people. It's going to be fun. Definitely. Stay tuned. And I think that will bring us to a close on this episode. I just want to remind you, if you happen to be out there traveling a galaxy and you run into a member of Meow, throw a cat pun in local. They just love that.
I roll my eyes every time I hear that.
Yeah.
Okay then. Uh, love, hugs, and kisses. See you next week.